Azure AI Studio is a centralized platform that offers a collection of AI services and tools provided by Microsoft Azure. It includes access to powerful language models like GPT-3, GPT-4, machine learning tools, and other AI services such as speech and vision. If you're familiar with the RAG solution, we are going to try it out today with Azure AI Studio. Yes, we are going to connect Azure AI Studio Chatbot to a custom file, PDF file, for example, and connect to one of the models like GPT-4 and process our PDF file. Let's get started. First, we need to open the Azure AI Studio. As you can see, it's also show up here, but if you can't see it on your main page, you can look it up from here by typing AI, and you can see the AI Studio. There is also another way, which probably will be easier, is to type in ai.azure.com and you can open the website. And probably if you are not signed into the Azure, you will be directed to the login page. You have to do the same login as you usually do with Azure website, and then you will be redirected to this page. First thing first, we need to create a new project. I click on the new project here. So I can leave it as it is, but I like to name it differently. So demo 001, I think that should be fine. Here there is a settings for the resources and the location and resource group. If you don't change it, it will go with the settings as you can see, but I like to customize it. There is a hub name here, and what is the hub? Hub is the place to create an environment for you and also make sure that you have some shared resources between projects. So basically in the Azure AI Studio, you have two concepts for organizing your work. One of them is the hub, the other one is the project. With hub, you can create a lot of shared resources that can be shared between projects, and within every project you can create a different services that you can work. And with projects you can also share your project with other people and collaborate with them. So for the hub, I name it hub demo 001. The subscription is correct. I want to keep it as the same. The resource group, I want to change it, so I click on the create new resource group and I say RG demo 001. I try to keep it consistent. I need to create an Azure AI service or Azure OpenAI, so I click on create new and I call it Azure, or maybe I call it OpenAI demo 001. And also we need the Azure AI search in this tutorial, so I click on create new AI search. I say AI search and demo 001. So it's good to follow the naming convention in your project. Any naming convention you follow, it's good to keep it consistent to make sure later you can recognize the resources and understand which resource connect to which project or part of which project is that. So now we did everything here. I click on next. Here we get the overview on all services that we created, and if everything is fine, we can click on the create a project, and then it will initiate the provisioning. So here, as you can see, there are several resources that is going to be created for this project. We have hub project, we have OpenAI instance, we have Azure AI search, we have a storage account, and we have Key Vault. The storage account is going to be used, for example, if you want to upload a file or something, and that will be processed later. So it has to go to a storage account, and then later it has to be processed by the AI services. And Key Vault for the security purpose, if you have anything for the security, or it's going to be used also by your project and hub resources for the security purposes, for the tokens, secrets, and etc. So it does validate the resources. If everything is correct, then As you can see, it has started creating resources, and when each resource is created, you can see this green tick here. I think it's going to take a couple of minutes to get all resources done, and I'm going to pause the video and will continue when all resources are created. So most of the services are created. Now we are waiting for the project to be created. Also OpenAI instance, which we can use to connect to different models and create generative GenAI solutions. So everything is done. Now we are inside the demo 001 project. Let's look at this environment for a second and see what we have here. As you can see on the right side, we see the information for the project. Also, we can see the name of the hub. And as you can see, it's clickable. If you click on the hub, it will direct you to the hub page. Within a hub page, you are able to see the project name. The projects are part of that hub. Also, you can see the connected resources here. As I mentioned before, these resources are the resources that's going to be shared between the projects. And here, of course, you can see the information for the hub, which is including the subscription, resource group, location, and hub name. You can also get the API endpoints and key here, which is quite interesting. Here you can add new users to the hub. So let's click on the demo 001, the project we created. And then here, we still don't have any resources or project. We have a lot of features here. For this particular tutorial, we want to create a chatbot. So if I click on the chatbot now, what I can see here, there is nothing here still. So it tells me I need to do the deployment. And what the deployment means, if I click on the deployment, basically I need to deploy a model. So without model, I'm not able to try chat playground or test any chatbot here. So I have a lot of models here, as you can see, and I can choose one of the models and deploy. Before I deploy any model here, I want to show you something, because there's something interesting in Azure AI Studio, which is having a different ways of doing the same thing. For example, for deploying the model, you can click on the create a deployment and do that. There's another way to do that, which is a model catalog. So if you go to the model catalog, it actually shows you the all models we have seen in the previous window, and you can click on each model. For example, I click on the GPT-4o model. It shows me some information about the model, and then I can deploy it right away from here. There is also another way to deploy models inside Azure AI Studio, which is deployments. You can find the deployments from the left side of the screen. So if I click on the deployments here, basically it shows me the list of the deployments I have done before. So I can click on the deploy here, deploy base model, and as you can see, it shows me the same window as I saw when I click on the create a new deployment from the playground. So I click on the ChatGPT-4 here now and click on confirm. It does open a window here to show me the model information, and if I'm fine with the model information and also the deployment name, I can continue with deployment. If not, I click on the customize, and here I can customize the model that I'm going to deploy. One thing interesting here to customize is the tokens, because we are going to use this model to generate text, and for that we don't want to get to the limitation. So it's better to increase the tokens per minute rate. For example, 120k per minute I think should be fine. So I can deploy now. So the model is deployed immediately. One thing interesting here is that it shows me the information about the model itself, the tokens limit I have here. Also, it gives me the endpoint here. Within this endpoint, I'm able to connect this model from outside of AI Studio and use it in an API or application. So now our model is deployed, so we are able to use the model. In order to use the model, you can click on the Open in Playground, or you can go to the chat from the left side under the project Playground. So I click on the Open in Playground, and here it doesn't show me anything yet. It's just because the page is not refreshed. So I click on refresh. So now the page is refreshed. So now I have the model that I deployed, it's GPT-4, and I can start chatting with the chatbot here. So before I do, I would like to explain also a couple of things from this window, but we can also give it a try. Let's just say hi, and I can explain what is DevOps. It's interesting. It says DevOps is a set of practices and cultural philosophies that aims to shorten the development lifecycle. Okay, that's interesting. It's quite good. The answer is really nice. So now look at some of the aspect of this window. For example, from the chatbot window on the middle, you can see here under the set of the system message. With the system message, you can configure your assistant. And for example, you can say you're an assistant with IT knowledge for absolute beginners. So I just saved this system message, and now if I ask the same question, what is DevOps? Let's see if it does change the answer. As you can see, the answer is changed. What happened here? Previously, we didn't have any system message. We just asked the model what is DevOps, and it just returned some generic information about the DevOps. But here, when we ask the same question, we ask the DevOps, the answer changed a little bit, and it tried to explain the DevOps in a different way, because I said you're an assistant with IT knowledge for absolute beginners. We can also make it a little bit funny and say answer as if you're a pirate. Let's save this. And now let's ask the same question here. It's quite funny, you see. The output message is changed completely. It is so funny because it's trying to tell you as if you're talking to a pirate and asking this question. So as you can see, you can configure the system message here and change the way that the chatbot can communicate to you. So based on the different use cases you have, you can configure this chatbot, and chatbot will perform based on those configurations. Now, in this tutorial, we want to cover the custom data. So we wanted to see how we can configure the chatbot with your custom data on Azure AI Studio. So if you click on the add your data here, you can click on the add a new data source. So here it shows you a wizard, and within this wizard you need to configure your custom data source. As you can see, this part of the AI Studio still is in preview, which means it is still not generally available. So if you are planning to use AI Studio for production ready environment, this part of the AI Studio still is in preview. So you have to take into consideration. So what we need to do here, we need to choose the data source here. There are several options here, and I want to upload my PDF file. So I click upload files, and here I upload my PDF from here. So the document is uploaded. Now we can click on next. Here we need to choose the AI search instance. So you can create a new one if you haven't created a AI search, but because we created the AI search previously, we can click on the second item, and here we can add connection from our AI search to this wizard. So the connection is added. There is an index name here. We can leave it as it is. We can also leave the auto select here for the virtual machine. That should be fine. I click on next. Here it is asking if I want to do the vector search to the search resource. Because this is for demo, I think it's fine. It's not gonna cost a lot of money here. So I click on next. So now everything is configured here in this wizard. Now I click on create to start the process of ingestion. This is gonna do the ingestion process. The ingestion process probably including a lot of different steps. For example, the first step is allocating compute resources. Then I can imagine there will be a chunking process to chunk the data into small pieces, and then the data will be indexed and will be ready to use by the chatbot. So this process is going to take a couple of minutes, and in order to see the progress of this process, you can go to the indexes from the left side. If I click on here, and here I can see what's going on the indexing side. If I click on that, here I can see the same progress that it was showing already on the chat menu, but this is the main place for the indexing. So when the indexing is done, probably this status is gone from the chat, but you can still see the progress here. If you want to go to much more detail about this process, we can click on the job detail. If you click on the job detail, you will be redirected to the Azure AI Machine Learning Studio, where you can see the actual job which is running for this wizard. And as you can see, it's waiting for the chunking, and there are some steps also here to do this indexing process. So I'm gonna pause this video. When the indexing is done, we're going to continue and test the chatbot. Okay, the indexing is done. If you click on the vector index name here, you can see that the indexing is done. It took a couple of minutes to see all the steps are getting done. And now we can go back to the chat. And this is the interesting part. So now we are in the chat playground. We did test the chatbot earlier, but now we want to test it again with our data. So if you go to the add your data here, you can see that you can select the available project index here, the index data, and this is the index data that we have. I don't want to connect it now because I want to give you the chance to see the kind of the difference between the time that the chatbot is connected to the index data and the time that the chatbot is not connected to the index data and it's just connected to the model. So before that, I want to just show you the document that I connect to this chatbot. The document is, it should be in the, I think, download. This is in the download. So this is the document. It includes just a PDF about the ASP.NET application. So what I want to do, I want to ask you questions about this document related to this document, and let's go to the table of contents and see what kind of things do we have. So for example, this one. Yeah, what is a monolith application? I just copy the question, come back here. Okay, let's ask this question from the chatbot. And as you can know, this chatbot is not connected to our data. So this is going to process the data from the GPT-4. A monolithic application refers to a software architecture style when an application is built as a single unified unit. In a monolithic architecture, all components of the application, blah blah blah. So as you can see, this is the different answer. Of course, it's similar, but it's different in this document. So now let's do something. Now connect the chatbot to the index data. Now the chatbot is connected to the index data. If you ask the same question, now let's see what happens. It's interesting. Now it gives us the answer, but not from the GPT-4, actually from the reference. So reference here is the document we provided from the input. And now if you click on the citation, it gives you also the source of this information. What is the monolithic application here? So as you can see, this is the difference when you connect your data and you use your model information. So this is how we can connect our data to Azure AI Studio and created a chatbot with it. And as you can see, it's a quite straightforward process. Sometimes you might face some delays because, I don't know, for some reason, not always it's going that fast. And when you see Microsoft says it might take between 1 or 3 minutes, this is the case that that sometimes it might take a little bit longer. So be patient about that. And apart from that, I think it's a really straightforward process. You can give it a try and play with the features here in this studio, which is quite nice and give you a lot of options. This is end of this tutorial. I hope you like the tutorial and give it a try and work with AI Studio and let me know your experience with the AI Studio. Do not forget to follow this channel and I see you in the next video.